The Daytona 500 is NASCAR's biggest race of the year. It's what kicks off NASCAR's season, and the lead up to the Daytona 500 is usually filled with so much on-track activity. If you became a NASCAR fan within the past 5 years or so, and you think that there's a ton of lead up to the Daytona 500 now, man, you haven't seen nothing, because just 10 years ago, it was an amazing amount of on-track activity that was presented. There's been so much taken away and changed for the worse, and it makes Speed Weeks less exciting, and it seems to get worse as time goes on. Before I even dive into how Speed Weeks suffered a downfall, do y'all remember Preseason Thunder? That got taken away back in 2015. If you're not familiar with Preseason Thunder, it was a 3-day January test at Daytona where teams got to simply prepare for the upcoming season. It was a chance to see drivers with new teams and etc. It was a glimpse into the upcoming season. Yeah, it was a lot of single car runs at Daytona, which may not seem that exciting, but when it's the first time seeing cars on track in months, then it definitely gets you pumped up. And it wasn't just single car runs, but you had packs form up as well. I'll never forget January of 2012 where pack racing returned after having two-car tandem being a thing for the past 2 seasons. The reaction to pack racing returning had fans excited. The phrase of that week was, "The pack is back." Preseason testing wasn't televised all day. Back in the 2000s, Speed Channel used to have a 30-minute show talking about how testing was going throughout the 3 days. Eventually, it was broadcasted in the early 2010s, right before NASCAR got rid of preseason testing for good. It's so unfortunate because this got people pumped every year. Instead of waiting until February, you had something to look forward to in January. Okay, now I can actually talk about Speed Weeks, and what kicks off Speed Weeks is the Clash. The Clash used to be an event where pole winners from the previous year were running this short exhibition race, and basically it was for bragging rights. No points on the line. The fields during the early years of the Clash wasn't that large at all. Like I said, if you won a pole from the previous year, you can race that event. If it wasn't that many pole winners during the previous year, that means that the field was really small. Eventually the field got bigger because they started allowing previous Clash winners into the field, and then if you won a Daytona 500 pole, you could race and etc. Next thing you know, you got about 70% of the damn field racing. Even though it was a lot of drivers racing, it was still entertaining to watch, and we seen many classic races and finishes from the Clash. But then the event started to become a wreck fest. This started becoming the case around the late 2010s. 2020 was when enough was enough. No joke, it was about 4 cars that finished that damn race. So after the Clash being at Daytona on the Daytona Oval for so many years, it got changed. The Daytona road course was used the following year, and even though it was a classic finish, 95% of the race was a snooze fest. NASCAR actually realized this and said, you know what? Let's race inside of a football stadium. And well, they made it happen. Now, I don't think this is the worst idea ever. As a matter of fact, I actually like the idea of racing in a football stadium for an exhibition race at least. But my problem is that this shouldn't be for the Clash, but instead it should be for the All-Star race. To me, the Clash should be on the Daytona Oval. All Speed Weeks activities need to take place on the Daytona Oval. Many would disagree, but that's just how I feel about it. Go back to just allowing pole winners to race in this race. It will make it feel special to be in this event. Another thing they took away for this event was the televised random draw. Drivers will all be on trackside, and they will call drivers up and they will hand them this beer bottle, and each beer bottle had a flag in it that had a number on it. Whatever number was on the flag is where the driver would start in the Clash. It was fun to watch. The drivers and hosts joked around with each other and the fans was into it. That's something that needs to be brought back. Let's talk about the duels. The Daytona 500 struggles to get even 40 cars on the entry list now. During NASCAR peak, you'll have damn near 60 cars trying to qualify for this race. Unfortunately, those days are gone. Sometimes the duels can be confusing. I remember in 2021 where Ty Dillon beat the cars he had to beat in his duel, but because of the confusing system and factoring in the charters, yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. My brain just hurts thinking about it, but Ty Dillon got screwed, and it showed that the duels don't make any sense. I wish it was more like Indy 500 qualifying where nobody was locked in, but NASCAR will never go for that. The duel races themselves haven't been good in years. 95% of the race is everyone sitting in line, and then that's when they'll start to shuffle around. And yes, I get that they're trying to take care of their cars because it's their 500 ride, but still. And why did the duels get switched to night? The Daytona 500 is a daytime race and the duel races are at night, which means these drivers aren't really learning anything about their cars because the track is going to be completely different come Sunday when they're racing in the day. I won't lie, I was happy with the duels being moved to the nighttime because I was always in school when they took place, and when I got home the second duel will be just about finished. But as I sat back and thought about it, having it at night don't make sense because the 500 runs during the daytime. The last problem I want to touch on is just the lack of on-track activity. NASCAR has gotten rid of so many practice sessions for the Daytona 500 over the years, especially recently. They actually just recently announced that there's no more practice for the duels, which is stupid. How is the teams that trying to make the Daytona 500 supposed to know what they got? The Cup guys get on track twice during speed weeks now. Twice, compared to just 10 years ago where they used to get about 6 or 7 practice sessions in total, and yeah, not all those practice sessions was for the 500. 2 of them will be for the Clash, but you get my point. This is the Speedweek schedule from the year 2006. Look how much on-track activity there was. IROC practice, the Buzz shootout practice, multiple practice sessions for the Xfinity and trucks, and of course, multiple practice sessions for the Cup Series. Then to add to this, you had trackside and plenty of other TV shows regarding NASCAR that kept the hype train going all the way into the 500. It was exciting times. Don't get me wrong, I still look forward to the Daytona 500 nowadays, but my hype for it today doesn't compare to how it used to be. You can't even call it Speed Weeks anymore. Shit, you can't even call it Speed Week. It's 5 days now compared to it being a 2-week build-up like how it used to be. It's super frustrating because it's feeling more and more like every other race now, when really that shouldn't be the case. It's the Daytona 500. It's the biggest race of the year for NASCAR. Don't take stuff away, build hype for it. I know this is the last thing people want to hear because as of recording this video, the Daytona 500 is right around the corner, and watching a video like this will kind of kill your hype for it, but I'm just acknowledging a problem involving speed weeks. It's not what it used to be, and I want to change for the better. But that's my opinion on that though. I want to hear from y'all now. Do y'all think it's been a downfall with speed weeks? What will you do to improve speed weeks? Let me know in the comments. Alright, that's enough for me. I'm going to go ahead and roll up out of here. Hope y'all have a good one. Peace.